What's up, YouTube? It's been a wild, wild day. The NBA draft lottery was tonight. We now know that the Dallas Mavericks will be picking number 1 in the 2025 NBA draft, likely landing Cooper Flagg. San Antonio Spurs get the number 2 overall pick. The Philadelphia 76ers get the 3rd overall pick. All three of these teams are playoff teams to me when healthy, so the fact that all three of them got a top 3 pick I thought is a little crazy. I made a YouTube short on this, so make sure you guys go check that out. But I think the NBA draft lottery is 100% rigged. I already had suspicion about the NBA draft lottery, but now it pretty much confirmed it for me. I pretty much talked about it all on the YouTube short. I do want to also say I am a Boston Celtics fan. We're going down 3-1 in Jason Tatum. It's looking like he tore his Achilles, and man, it's been a crazy day for me. Just a wild, wild day for me when it comes to basketball. So yeah, I'm kind of I'm down right now. Honestly, my favorite player in the NBA going down with that injury, and my Boston Celtics being one game away from being eliminated. It sucks. But anyways, let's get straight into this video. The 2025 NBA draft. A lot of great talent here in this draft. Obviously, Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, and Ace Bailey being the top 3, biggest names in this draft. But you got, plenty of talent. You got VJ Edgecombe, Derik Queen, Jakucionis, Tre Johnson, who I think is, these two right here are the best shooters in the draft to me. Tre Johnson and Kon Knueppel here. Khaman Maluach, very raw prospect, but I like his upside for sure. Murray-Boyles, I'll talk about him later. We got a lot of good talent. Jeremiah Fears probably going to be, come in and be, if he gets the minutes, I think he can be a 15-point per game scorer in his rookie season. He's very young, but I think he's a bucket getter. Egor Demin, I really like his upside. There's a lot of talent. I will say I'm only going to be doing the lottery here today because we don't know. After 14, we don't really know where people are picking yet, obviously, because the season is not completed yet. So just for now, I'm only going to do the lottery, but probably my next mock draft video will be a full first-round mock draft. But anyway, without further ado, let's get straight into it. The Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, this is a contending roster to me when healthy, and you add Cooper Flagg in the mix, I think it's crazy. Obviously, we know Kyrie Irving likely not going to play next season. He might be able to come back for the playoffs. Obviously, the further they go in the playoffs, the more likely he is to come back. But coming off a torn ACL, you don't really know how he's going to look. I think he'll be 33 next year. I don't know if I'm right about that. Could be wrong. But you got Klay Thompson, 80. Plenty of talent on this team. You got, the big man duo and Daniel Gafford and Dereck Lively. Solid role players like Najee Marshall, Max Christie, Caleb Martin, PJ Washington. This is a amazing team. This is a really, really good team. I just don't think they deserved Cooper Flagg. Nico Harrison sort of gets a bailout for making a boneheaded decision. But anyways, Cooper Flagg to the Dallas Mavericks. I'm not going to waste any more time on that. But shout out to Dallas Mavericks fan. I know it's been a roller coaster of emotions, but I think if you can see where you are now, you're pretty happy with that, landing a generational talent in Cooper Flagg. Next up, we got the San Antonio Spurs. Similar to the Dallas Mavericks, I think this team is ready to compete now. Obviously, landed De'Aaron Fox at the trade deadline. Didn't really get to see much of De'Aaron Fox and Wemby. We know that both of them had injuries, and Wemby's was a very serious blood clot injury. But this is a team I think is ready to compete. There's some rumors going around saying they might trade this pick maybe for a deal surrounding maybe a KD or a Giannis, most likely Giannis. But what would a Giannis deal look like? To me, you're giving up this pick. You're probably, if you could somehow not get rid of Stephon Castle, but I don't know if it's possible to get Giannis without getting rid of Stephon Castle. So a realistic deal for me will be the number 2 overall pick, Stephon Castle, and maybe a Vassell or a Keldon Johnson to get Giannis, because this is a top 2 player in the world we're talking about. I think there's a lot of delusional fan bases out there that think they can get Giannis for like a bag of chips. Not going to happen. There's not too many Nico Harrisons around in the league, at least I'd hope. But anyways, I think you go best player available here, and that is absolutely 100% Dylan Harper. I can't say enough about Dylan Harper. This guy, as a true freshman, this guy, I really like Dylan Harper, and if you could pair him up with De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, sort of a loaded backcourt room out there, but Dylan Harper to me has potential to be a star lead guard in this league. And like I said, you pair him with Castle and De'Aaron Fox. Not too sure how that backcourt of the future is going to look, but I don't know. Maybe you don't, give the extension to De'Aaron Fox depending on how Dylan Harper works out. And maybe you can go and target, someone else in like a free agency, maybe like a wing player. That would be amazing. But to me, Spurs, if they don't trade the pick, they got to go best player available, and that is 100% Dylan Harper. Next up, we got the Philadelphia 76ers. This one's sort of a tricky one here. I think they can go a variety of ways. Obviously, VJ Edgecombe, I would love for them to, select a player here that can sort of put pressure on the rim. Obviously, Paul George is not the same player he was, obviously making a ridiculous amount of money on one of the worst contracts in the NBA. At least last year he was, or this season technically, because the season's not over. This season he was absolutely horrific. Joel Embiid, top 5 player to me when healthy, but obviously that's the biggest question. This is an amazing roster to me. Like, if they are healthy, they are a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference to me. Quentin Grimes, you saw him go crazy towards the end of the year. Jared McCann would have won Rookie of the Year if he didn't get injured, in my opinion. You got older vets like Kyle Lowry, Gershon Yabusele, Celtic legend right here. Very solid role player. But man, I think this is between 3 players here, and I really think it's between Ace Bailey. Do you like the upside of Ace Bailey here? I think he has the most upside out of any 3 of the players I'm about to mention. Do you want a guy that can put pressure on the rim? Out of Baylor, VJ Edgecombe. And then you got Tre Johnson here. Tre Johnson here, to me, is the second best shooter in this draft after Kon Knueppel here. If you could, a shooting trio of Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey, and Tre Johnson, that sounds elite. But to me, I think they're going to go with the upside here of Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey, a 6'10 wing who can, he projects sort of, to me, I'm not as high on him as other people, just because of the way Jabari Smith Jr.'s career has sort of played out. I think they, have similarities. When Jabari Smith was coming out of college, he was sort of this shot-creating guy at Auburn, but, had some trouble, taking 2 dribbles, he gets bumped, and he's picking up his dribble early. I kind of see the same stuff with Ace Bailey. But I could be wrong about that. But obviously, I think a lot of it has to do with Jabari Smith, not really getting much opportunity. Obviously, what is he, in year 3? They're already, a playoff team, pretty loaded team out there in Houston. But Ace Bailey, man, I think if he puts it together and he goes to a team, I think for him, I think it would be better if he didn't go to a team like the Philadelphia 76ers. But obviously, I think the Sixers are going to select his upside here. Teams, always love to do that. And I think Ace Bailey is going to go to the Philadelphia 76ers. But for the sake of his career, I think it would be better if he went to a team like a Charlotte, like a Washington, where he can sort of, take his time to develop. Because I think he is definitely a developmental player. I think he's going to be a solid, player day one, but I still think he needs to put some stuff together. Next up, we got the Charlotte Hornets. To me, this is between VJ Edgecombe or Tre Johnson here. These are the best players available. When I look at the, Charlotte Hornets roster, I think they could use some front court help, but the 4th pick is a little too rich for me to take a Derik Queen or a Khaman Maluach here. So when you're the 4th pick, I think you need to take best player available. And like I said, that's between VJ Edgecombe and Tre Johnson. You sort of have a loaded backcourt here with the LaMelo Ball. Actually, no, you really don't. You could use a 2-guard. Tre Mann I like a lot, but I view him more as like a bench piece. Brandon Miller I view as more of a 3. So yeah, they could definitely fit a 2-guard in here, and the perfect 2-guard to me to pair up with LaMelo would absolutely be VJ Edgecombe here. Super athletic wing guard. I like his defensive upside. I would love to see him paired with LaMelo Ball. So the Charlotte Hornets land VJ Edgecombe. Next up, we got the Utah Jazz, the worst team in the league. Got screwed over tonight in the draft lottery. They're going to be picking 5th here. Sort of a loaded backcourt here. Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, Cody Williams, not a backcourt guy, view him more as a wing, but had a horrible rookie season. So that pick is not looking too great there, but maybe he can pick it up. I also forgot to mention Isaiah Collier. Like, this is a very loaded backcourt. So do they go with Tre Johnson here? Do they go best player available? I think they, to me, I think they got to go best player available. This is a team that just needs whatever talent they can get. I'm going to go Tre Johnson here. Some of you guys may not like this. Maybe you would like to see them take a chance on a guy like Derik Queen to beef up that front court. But I'm going to go best player available, and that's Tre Johnson. If Tre Johnson's on the board at 5, I think you got to take him. Like I said, second best shooter in the draft. Can score the shit out of the ball. I think this guy, he has some efficiency issues, but man, I view him as a guy who's going to be amongst the top scorers in the league at some point in his career if he gets the opportunity, for sure. Next up, we got the Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards, a lot of people are saying they sort of got screwed over in the draft. Yes and no, because I think selecting Alex Sarr, they had the number 2 overall pick last year. You basically got the number 1 overall pick in Alex Sarr at number 2 last year. So I basically treat it as the Washington Wizards getting the number 1 pick last year. So I'm not going to give them too much, whatever you want to call it. But the Washington Wizards here, I think they can go a variety of ways. Sort of have a loaded backcourt again. You got Bub Carrington. AJ Johnson played amazing once he got traded from the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think they like what they see from him moving forward. You got vet guys like Malcolm Brogdon. Jordan Poole is still a bucket. Marcus Smart, I think he's a guy that gets traded. But Bilal Coulibaly, I love a lot. As far as, what they go here, I think they can go a variety of ways. But this might shock some of you guys. But I'm going to go CMB here, my guy, Colin Murray-Boyles. I really, really like this guy's potential, man. I think he has potential to guard 1 through 5. I like his upside. I really like his upside. That might shock some of you guys. Make sure you guys go do your homework on Colin Murray-Boyles. I think he has, I think he can be an elite defender in the league, and I think he has potential to be guarding 1 through 5 in the league. So I really like his upside. You pair him with a guy like Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly, a great defensive group building out there in Washington if they're to select this CMB with the 7th pick? The 6th pick, sorry. Next up, with the 7th pick, we do have the New Orleans Pelicans here, selecting Yves Missy in last year's draft. Where's he at? Yeah, here we go. I sort of liked what I saw from him in his rookie season. So as far as what they need, I think they need a playmaking guard. And to me, that is Kasparas Jakucionis. DeJounte Murray, I can't remember what his injury is. Is it a torn Achilles or ACL? I don't remember. I know it's a serious injury. I want to say it's an Achilles. So I don't think he's going to be ready to start the year. But also a guy who I would like to see would be maybe a Jeremiah Fears. He projects more as like a scoring guard, though, and I think that would be sort of repetitive to drafting Jordan Hawkins just a few years ago. You already got guys like Trey Murphy, so I think they could really use Kasparas Jakucionis' playmaking. Kasparas Jakucionis, I think his defense could cause him to fall in this draft, but his playmaking upside, I think he could be a solid scorer in the league. I'm going to take Kasparas. Some people aren't as high on him, but I'll take his talent. I like what he brings to the table, especially as a playmaker, and I think New Orleans could definitely use that. Next up, we got the Brooklyn Nets. This is a team that just really lacks talent outside of, Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton, and Cam Johnson. D'Lo, don't see him as a long-term guy. But man, this team is fucking awful. Like, you look at the roster and there's just like, they're like, what, 4 deep, 5 deep? Not the highest on Zaire Williams out of Stanford. I was really hoping he could become something more. But man, I would like to see them beef up the front court. And I'm going to take Derik Queen. Derik Queen paired up with Nick Claxton. I really like that fit. I really, really do like that fit. I don't think Derik Queen is going to be a 5 in the league. He projects more as a 4. He sort of has a back in the day game. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Has sort of like this point forward playmaker, like post playmaker type of play style. It's a bit different. It's unique for sure. He's become one of my favorite players in the draft, and to pair him up with a guy like Nick Claxton, a rim protector like that, I think would be an amazing fit. Next up, speaking about amazing fits, this is a match made in heaven to me in Khaman Maluach to the Toronto Raptors, getting this interior force rim protector here. Exactly what the Toronto Raptors need. You got Jakob Poeltl out there as their starting center, who I think is a serviceable starting center, but I really like what the Toronto Raptors are doing. I shouldn't have submitted that pick so early, just so I can look at the roster. But off the top of my head, obviously they made the trade for Brandon Ingram at the trade deadline. I think a lot of people were forgetting about that. And you got, a guy who was an all-star in, I believe, his second year in Scotty Barnes last year. Who else they got? Emmanuel Quickly. RJ Barrett had an amazing year. This is a team that has a lot of talent. Brandon Ingram we haven't got to see yet because he was battling an injury, but they did make a trade for him at the trade deadline. And I like the move. I really do like the move. I think this is a team that could be a playoff team. The Toronto Raptors, I like what they're building for sure. And I think they're going to shock some people next year, honestly. I had a few tweets about them a couple of months ago after the Brandon Ingram trade. And now if you add, a Khaman Maluach in here, I think things could get scary in Toronto. Next up, we got the Houston Rockets. To me, this is between Kon Knueppel or Jeremiah Fears. Just a guy that can shoot. I obviously drafted Reed Sheppard, didn't really get to play much last year. Reed Sheppard to me was the best shooter in last year's draft. Why not draft the best shooter in this year's draft? Maybe Fred VanVleet, I would not be surprised if he gets traded this offseason. So I think Reed Sheppard could, potentially get some minutes there. But why not take a bigger Reed Sheppard and Kon Knueppel here? But I wouldn't be surprised if this pick is traded. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston wasn't picking at 10 and that, the Suns were possibly picking at 10 in a deal for Kevin Durant. But next up, we got this Portland Trailblazers, this is a team that's sort of loaded. So to me, this is a team that could take the best player available here. Robert Williams, I expect to be dealt. Anthony Simons, I'm seeing reports that maybe he could be dealt to a team like Orlando who needs a scoring punch. So assuming Anthony Simon does get traded, why not, draft another scoring guard to sort of replace him? Like I already mentioned earlier, I think this guy could come in and be a 15-point per game scorer. Reminds me a little bit of sort of like a Jordan Poole type player, especially coming in. He's a little bit better than Jordan Poole coming into the league because Jordan Poole was a G Leaguer. So I'm trying to think of a comparison straight out of college. I can't really think of one right now. But as far as what I believe he can be in the league, I just think of, Golden State Warriors, impactful Jordan Poole off the bench, being that scoring punch. I think he could definitely be that for Portland. And I like what Portland's building. Denny Avdia, I think he could be an all-star next year. That might sound crazy right now, but look at Denny Avdia's numbers this season, and I really like, his upside. I like Denny Avdia, I really do. 6'9" wing, he can sort of honestly do it all. You got Jeremy Grant still out there getting buckets, being a two-way guy. DeAndre Ayton is DeAndre Ayton. Scoot Henderson, I like Shaedon Sharpe a lot. And then Donovan Cleveland, their first-round pick last year, amazing, rim protector. But Jeremiah Fears to the Portland Trailblazers, I really do like this fit. Next up, we got the Chicago Bulls here. I think, this is a team that doesn't really have a direction right now. I mean, look at the amount of guards on this roster. Lonzo, I'm going to just count them. Lonzo Ball, we won't count Kevin Huerter as a guard, even though we could. But 1, 2, Kobe White. 3, Tre Jones. Josh Giddey, 4. Ayo Dosunmu, 5. Javon Carter, 6. Dalen Terry, 7. Talen Horton-Tucker, 8. Look at the amount of guards on this roster. It is ridiculous. Nikola Vucevic, I believe, is 35. This is a team that needs front court help. Zach Collins, serviceable big man. But for me, I'm going to go Asa Newell here. I like his, defensive upside here. Obviously having the big game, 26 and 11 for Georgia here. Only a freshman, man. Only a freshman. That's what you're going to notice a lot about this draft. A lot of freshmen. In fact, I think over 80% of the players I've drafted so far in this mock draft are freshmen, true freshmen. It's insane. I've never really seen a draft like this. But next up, we got the Atlanta Hawks, obviously selecting Zachary Risochet with the number 1 overall pick last year. Risochet really put it together to end the year. I don't know exactly what his shooting splits were, but I think he was averaging like 15 or 16 after the All-Star break, so pretty solid. Obviously, you got an all-star in Trae Young. Onyeka Okongwu, solid player. Clint Capella getting up there in age. But this is a team. Dyson Daniels, most improved player, second in DPOY. Jalen Johnson, amazing player. I think he can be an all-star next year. Man, But to me, Kobe Buffkin hasn't really done shit. They drafted him to be sort of that bench scorer for them. A guy like a Jeremiah Fears would be perfect here, but obviously we just selected him. So, man, I think why not go with the upside of Egor Demin here? This is a guy that was projected to go top 5 at the beginning of the year because he really, showed some flashes to begin the year, but couldn't really put it all together, didn't really show consistency throughout the whole year for BYU. So, man, I think they're going to go with the upside here. Jace Richardson, the reason I'm not going Jace Richardson here is I probably will end up going with him at some point, maybe possibly even with the next pick. But I just see the measurables here. He's not 6'3". He's 6'1.5", and I think that's worrisome for sure. To be a 6 foot point guard, not 6'3", so I think that could tank his draft stock. I think Jace Richardson would have been a top 10 pick if I didn't find that out, or if that didn't get reported in his measurables. I think that's worrisome for sure. But Egor Demin here, I think, is an Atlanta Hawk. Next up, obviously we selected Dylan Harper with the other pick. But man, Jace Richardson, man, I think this is going to be the pick. Obviously a loaded backcourt room here. But man, I think this pick is going to be traded. Honestly, I don't think the Spurs will be making this pick. You saw it last year where they traded Rob Dillingham after selecting Stephon Castle. I don't think they'll just select 2 rookies. Just like last year, I think they'll only select 1, and I think it will be Dylan Harper. So I'm just going to assume that someone else is making this pick. I know this is kind of a weird way to approach this. But Jace Richardson, I don't think the measurables are enough to make him fall out of the lottery. I do think it's enough to make him fall out of the top 10. But, dude, this guy, I mean, you look at the advanced stats like box plus minus. This guy's leading, or I think second after Cooper Flagg. As a true freshman, again, like you're looking at this, like most of these guys are true freshmen here. But, man, Jace Richardson, if you don't know about Jace Richardson, the son of Jason Richardson, I like what he can bring. I think he's an all-around player, and I don't think he's going to fall out of the lottery. It just doesn't feel right to make him fall out of the lottery here. So I want to select Jace Richardson with the 14th overall pick. And there goes my lottery selections. Let me know what you guys think down below. What did you guys think about the draft lottery today? Is the draft lottery rigged? And if your team is making one of these picks, let me know what you guys think about this. I think I did a pretty good job here. If these are any of your guys' teams, let me know if you would select someone else with this pick, or who you would like to see your team draft. I think I could, I think some people may have some questions about this pick right here, CMB here. But I'm a bit higher on him than I think a lot of people are. Seeing what he did for the Gamecocks this year, being able to guard 1 through 5. I like his pairing with Alex Sarr. I really do. And then, that's pretty much going to do it for the rest of this video. Let me know what you guys think, like I said, down below. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.